On this episode of Ask Dan, we're going to talk about what is the best TV for the Xbox One X, as well as without Windows 10 Mobile, does Cortana and UWP stand a chance? Stay tuned. Is Cortana dead without Windows Mobile, given that on other platforms their native assistants are better integrated? So it's a really great question. In order for Cortana to get better, more people need to use it. That is how artificial intelligence works. The more data it collects, the more data it can analyze, the better those algorithms improve. And this is in fact one reason why Microsoft bought LinkedIn. It's for all that data that they can go through and use for their cloud resources. So the question is, without a play in mobile and on the phone, how can Cortana actually catch on? And it's a really good point. I don't think it can, at least not as much as it should be able to. Sure, Cortana is on PC and it's on laptops, and technically it's on Xbox as well, but now without Kinect, it's not going to be used as much. So what we have is also the Harman Kardon Invoke, a great device only in the United States and probably not going to sell all that well. So there's definitely an uphill battle here for Microsoft. I'm not really sure how they're going to overcome it. Sure, in 2018, we are expecting more devices to come online, including cellular PCs, whatever Microsoft deems necessary for a new device category. But still, phones are ubiquitous. They're all over the world. People use them every day. And in fact, it's the most personal computer that people have. Without being there, it's going to be a tough fight for Microsoft. Now, Microsoft is on iOS and Android with Cortana, but on iOS, you can't set it as a default agent. And you can do that on Google, but even there are still limitations. For instance, Hey Cortana does not work with the display off, only when the app is open. So there is definitely going to be a challenge here. I'm not really sure what Microsoft will do here. They'll just have to keep fighting. Now, to address any concerns here, I do not see Microsoft getting rid of Cortana. Don't forget, Cortana drives their artificial intelligence. Even in Windows 10, it's baked in so deeply now. If you've ever done the out-of-box experience, that is when you first turn on a laptop, it guides you through the whole process of setting up your PC. So Cortana is very integral to the future of Microsoft in their idea of cloud computing and artificial intelligence. So it will stick around, but you're absolutely right. Without phones, it's going to have a challenge. Regardless of Windows Mobile's fate, it doesn't seem like apps are coming to the Windows Store. Is that a wrong perception? How much of an issue is it? So earlier this year, I wrote an article that you should expect to see a shift in the store with UWP apps away from smartphone apps that run on your PC to more full-fledged applications that are desktop class. So these are Centennial apps, ones that are Win32 that are bridged over for PC. There are also bigger PC games. And I think we are seeing that, but that is definitely a shift away from the Windows Phone model where we had these lighter apps that ran on PC. Those actually haven't caught on as much for obvious reasons. If there was a desktop version that was more powerful and had more features, well, people would opt to choose that instead. Microsoft, though, is still building out the APIs for UWP, and I think this bridging system is starting to catch on. For instance, go to the Windows Mixed Reality section. Now, I know most of you do not have one of these headsets yet, but the amount of games and apps that have showed up in the last 2 weeks is actually very impressive. It's starting to catch on, and a lot of that's because of these bridges and these deals they made with like Steam VR. So there is hope for UWP. It's just shifted away from what we had a few years ago with phone apps that ran on your PC to more powerful desktop apps. What are the specific features we're looking for in a 4K TV to get the most out of the Xbox One X? Okay, so this is a very relevant question. If you're going to spend $500 on the Xbox One X, you probably want to get a TV that will help match it. And there are a lot of choices on the market, which is why we already wrote a guide for you at Windows Central with the best TV selections for the Xbox One X. But to answer your question a little bit more directly, let's go through a few of the things you should be looking for. Obviously, you're going to choose 4K, so you can check that box off. Next thing you want to look for is HDR support, that is high dynamic range. There are two competing technologies out there, Dolby Vision and HDR10. Now, the Xbox One X only supports HDR10, but a lot of competing services use Dolby Vision, including Apple TV. High-end TVs tend to support both of them, so you'll be covered, but it's something you want to make sure to look for when you're buying that TV. Look for HDR10 and HDR10 Plus support. Next up is going to be bits, so you want 4K 10-bit. Now, most TVs will be able to do this anyway. It shouldn't be a problem. Some TVs even do 12-bit and higher color spaces. That's fine as well. As long as it could go down to 10-bit, you should be okay. You also want to look for refresh rate. Some TVs do 120 and 240 hertz refresh rates, which is very fast, but all you really need is 4K, 10-bit, and 60 hertz. If you can do that, you're going to max out your Xbox One X pretty much. Obviously, higher is better, so the more specs you can get, the more future-proof your TV is, but you're going to be paying for that privilege. Now, if you want to know the TV I personally recommend, if money is not an issue, it would be the LG C7. I have the 55-inch model, and it costs $2,000. Now, it's not a cheap TV, but by all reviews, it's very good and your best bet for your money. For instance, it's an OLED TV, which looks absolutely jaw-dropping gorgeous. Once you go OLED, you don't go back. That also means you get a very high refresh rate and very low input lag for gaming. So you're not going to get a lot of motion blur, which is super important. You also get HDR support, but there is also Dolby Vision support. So if you want to put on an Apple TV or another competing box, well, you can do that too and use HDR. Now, it's an expensive TV, but it is really the best one you can get for the Xbox One X right now. So that does it for this episode. Remember, if you have a question, use hashtag AskDanWindows on Twitter or go to Windows Central to our forums area where we have a special section set up and you can ask me anything. Now, if you like this video, give us a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching. Take care, everybody. Of course, watch the top is going to just rip. Come on. Yeah.